Welcome to my HMI project. My HMI is based on a potato chip plant. As you can see, we are on my login screen, which contains a login button, a logout button, shutdown button, and a main menu button. So we'll begin by logging in, and we'll log in as Eddie, who is my supervisor and has access to all the displays. I've also disabled the alarms for this demo as they pop up every few seconds. So first, let's look at our main menu. From here, you can navigate to all the different displays. So we'll first look at plant status. So here we have 5 indicators. Uh, one to show whether or not the plant is running, one for whether or not the peeling station is running, for the slicing/drying station is running, the frying station is running, or the packaging station is running. We also have a display message that pops up here for when the oil reserve is at less than 50%, and again when it's at less than 10%. We also have an emergency stop that will stop the whole process, and then we have our main menu. Next, let's look at the packaging station. Although the packaging is the very last step of the entire process, it's also where we start the process because this is where we set the amount of bags we want to fill. So here we can set the amount, so we can change it to 8 bags. And then once we select the amount of bags we want to fill, we can start the process. We also again have an emergency stop. We have an indicator showing whether or not the plant is running. We'll have an animation here showing the filling and sealing of the bags, and also a bag count. So each time a bag is filled and sealed, the count will go up until it reaches the amount that we put into the number input. Next, we'll look at the peeling station, which is actually the beginning of the process for making the potato chips. Again, we have 3 indicators, one showing whether or not the plant is running, one to show whether or not the peeling machine is running or stopped, and one for whether or not the potatoes are being rinsed. We'll also have an animation here that will show the potatoes being peeled and an animation showing the potatoes being rinsed. And once again, we have an emergency stop. And we'll go to the next station, which is slicing. Again, we have our indicators for plant status, whether or not it's running, if the slicing machine is running, if the slices are being rinsed, and the air dryer is going. We also have a number input for putting in the thickness of the slices. So right now, by default, the potatoes are sliced to 1 millimeters thick. We can change it to between 1 and 4 millimeters. So we can set it for 2. And once the machine is running, this display will disappear as we don't want to change the size of the slices as the machine is running. And again, we have emergency stop. Next, we'll look at the frying station. Again, we have our indicators for whether or not the fryer is running or the cooling conveyor is running. We have whether or not the plant is running. We also have a graphic showing the oil reserve levels. And then we also have a oil temperature gauge. The oil temperature gauge has 2 alarms associated with it. One will display that the oil is too cold if it is below 150 degrees Celsius. And we'll also have another alarm if the oil reaches above 180 degrees Celsius. Right now, they're currently disabled as they would pop up every couple seconds and make this demo a little more challenging. We also have a message display as well that shows whether or not the fryer is cooking or not. It will display do not enter if the fryer is cooking, just to protect people from any hot oil flying. And again, we have an emergency stop. So now we can try running the plant. So we'll go back to packaging. So we'll leave it at the 8 bags and we'll start. And we can see that the plant is running. So we'll go look at the peeling station. So you can see that the potatoes are being peeled. And then once you're done peeled, they go into the rinse. And then once the rinse is complete, they'll go for slicing. You can see that the slicing machine is running. We can also see that the input for the potato slice thickness is gone. Once they're done being sliced, the slices are rinsed. And then after being rinsed, they'll head off to the air dryer, which will run. And then once they are done at this station, they will head to the fryer. So we can see that the fryer is cooking, and we have a message displaying that the fryer is running, do not enter. And then once the chips are done frying, they go to the cooling conveyor. And then once they're done cooling, they'll go to the packaging, where we'll see that the chip bags are being filled and then sealed. And each time they are done being sealed, they count up. And then once the count reaches 8, the plant will stop. We'll test out our emergency stop. So we can see once the plant is stopped or we've reached the number of bags we want to fill, the bag count is reset to 0, the plant is stopped. We'll start this again and then just take a quick look at our plant status. So here we can see when each part of the plant is running. And it just gives operators an overview of what part of the process the potatoes and chips are at. And that is my HMI project.